Captain stared at the glowing invitation in his hands. The thin crystal sheet pulsed with soft purple and blue light, casting strange shadows across his small cabin aboard the freight ship Horizon Runner. He had seen many strange things in his 5 years traveling through space, but this was something special. "You look confused," said Minu, his co-pilot, leaning against the doorway with a cup of coffee. "What is that thing?" "It's an invitation," said slowly, "from the ambassador's family." Minu's eyes went wide. "The butterfly people, that's huge. They never invite outsiders to their ceremonies. What's the occasion?" Touched the crystal, and holographic text appeared in the air. His translator struggled with some of the words, but he could understand most of it. "It says they're having a bonding ceremony for his daughter. They want me to attend as an honored guest." "Honored guest?" Minu slapped him on the back. "That's because you helped their colony last year. Remember when their supply ships got delayed? You delivered food and medicine for free." Smiled, remembering. The colony on Station 9 had been in trouble. Their supply routes were cut off by asteroid storms. Had been nearby and decided to help, even though he would lose money on the trip. They had been so grateful. Ambassador had personally thanked him and promised friendship between their peoples. "When is it?" Minu asked. 2 weeks on there. You have to go. This is a huge honor. Plus, I've heard weddings are beautiful. Floating gardens, bioluminescent flowers, music that can make you cry." Nodded. "I'll go. I need to learn about their customs first. Don't want to embarrass myself." The next 2 weeks passed quickly. Tried to study culture in his free time. He watched videos and read articles. The problem was that his translator kept glitching on certain words. Some cultural concepts didn't translate well into human languages. He learned that looked like tall, graceful humans with iridescent skin that changed colors with their emotions. They had large, expressive eyes and moved with fluid elegance. He also learned that family and bonding were extremely important to them, but the details about their ceremonies were unclear. His translator kept showing error messages on certain sections. "It's fine," he told himself. "I'll just be polite and follow what others do." He bought a gift, an expensive crystal vase made on Earth. Humans usually gave gifts at weddings, so he assumed they would appreciate it. When the day came, piloted a small shuttle too. The planet was beautiful. Endless forests of silver and gold trees covered the continents. Cities glowed softly in the twilight, built in harmony with nature. He landed at the ceremonial grounds, a vast garden floating on massive platforms above a crystal-clear lake. As he stepped out of his shuttle, a group approached. Their skin shimmered with welcoming pink and gold colors. Leading them was a young woman whose skin glowed with soft lavender light. "Captain," she said in perfect English, her voice musical. Thank you for honoring us with your presence." Bowed, a gesture he learned appreciated. "The honor is mine. Congratulations on your bonding ceremony." Smiled and her skin brightened. 3 other women stood beside her, all looking at him with interest. "These are my closest companions," said, and Vila had skin that shifted between blue and green. Skin was sunset orange and pink. Vila's skin was deep purple with silver patterns. "It's wonderful to meet you," said. "I brought a gift." He held out the crystal vase. The 4 women gasped, and their skin colors brightened dramatically. They touched the vase with reverence. "This is exquisite," whispered. "Such craftsmanship." "You honor us greatly," added. Felt pleased. The gift was a success. "Come," said, taking his hand gently. "Let us show you to your place." As they walked through the gardens, noticed many staring at him. They smiled and their skin glowed warmly. Some of the males approached and clasped his hands, speaking rapid words his translator couldn't keep up with. They seemed excited and congratulatory. "You are very popular," said Tu with a laugh. "You have no idea," Vila said mysteriously, and the 4 women shared a look. They led him to a raised platform near the center of the garden. It was decorated with thousands of floating flowers and ribbons of light. Assumed this was the VIP viewing area for important guests. "This is beautiful," he said honestly. "I've never seen anything like it." "The ceremony will begin soon," said. "An elder will come to prepare you." "Prepare me?" "Yes, honored guests receive a token," explained. "It shows your special status." Before could ask more questions, an elderly approached. Their skin was pale silver with age, and they moved with slow dignity. The elder carried a small box. "Captain," the elder said in a deep, warm voice, "you have shown great kindness to our people. You have proven yourself worthy of our highest honor." The elder opened the box. Inside was a bracelet made of woven light and crystal. It pulsed with soft rainbow colors. "Extend your hand," the elder instructed. Did as asked. The elder placed the bracelet on his wrist. It felt warm and seemed to merge with his skin slightly, though it didn't hurt. "Wear this with pride," the elder said. "It marks you as one who is chosen." "Thank you," said, admiring the bracelet. "It's beautiful." The elder smiled and walked away, and Vila surrounded him again. "How does it feel?" asked softly. "Light, comfortable," said. "I didn't expect such a generous gift just for being a guest." The four women exchanged glances again, their skin colors flickering. "The ceremony will start now," said. "Please stay here, we must take our places." Watched as the women walked to positions around the platform. Other gathered in a large circle. Music began, sounds like wind chimes and flowing water mixed with harmonious voices. The sky darkened, and the bioluminescent plants grew brighter, creating a magical atmosphere. Felt privileged to witness this. He had heard about ceremonies but never thought he would see one. As he stood on the platform, surrounded by beauty and wonder, he had no idea that he wasn't just a guest at this wedding. He was the groom. The ceremony was about to change his life forever, and he didn't even know it yet. The music grew louder, filling the air with harmonious sounds that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Stood on the central platform, watching as hundreds of gathered in circles around him. Their skin glowed in different colors, creating a living rainbow in the darkening evening. And Vila stood at 4 points around the platform, forming a square with at the center. They had changed into flowing ceremonial robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. Each woman's skin glowed brighter than before, pulsing gently in rhythm with the music. An elder, different from the one who gave him the bracelet, walked to the center of the platform. They raised their hands, and the music softened to a gentle whisper. "We gather under the twin moons," the elder announced in a voice that carried across the garden, "to witness a sacred bonding. 4 souls have chosen to unite with one who has proven worthy through deeds of kindness and courage." Smiled, thinking this was a beautiful way to start a wedding. He wondered where the groom was. Perhaps he would arrive in some grand fashion. The elder continued, "The honored one has accepted the mark of bonding." They gestured to his wrist, where the bracelet glowed softly. Lifted his hand, admiring how the bracelet caught the light. He felt honored to wear such a beautiful token. Stepped forward first. She held a garland of silver flowers that seemed to glow from within. She approached with slow, graceful steps. Her skin shifted to a deep rose color, which limited knowledge told him meant happiness and affection. "Captain," she said softly, "I offer you my bond. Will you accept these flowers as a symbol of my commitment?" Blinked, confused. Was this part of the ceremony where guests participated? He looked around and saw all the watching him expectantly. Not wanting to be rude, he nodded. "Of course," he said, "they're beautiful." Placed the garland around his neck. The flowers were soft and smelled like honey and moonlight. The crowd made pleased sounds, and many skin brightened with joy. Stepped forward next. She carried a long blue scarf woven with silver threads. "Captain," she said, her voice steady but her skin flickering with nervous green and blue colors, "I offer you my bond. Will you accept this scarf as a symbol of my commitment? Was starting to feel strange about this. Why were they giving him things? But everyone was watching, and refusing seemed rude. These must be gifts that honored guests received to remember the ceremony. Yes, thank you, he said. Wrapped the scarf around his shoulders. It felt warm and comforting. The crowd made more happy sounds. Some of the males in the audience were giving him approving gestures, like thumbs up, which had learned from humans. Came forward with ribbons in sunset colors orange, pink, and gold. Captain, she said, her artistic voice making his name sound like a song, I offer you my bond. Will you accept these ribbons as a symbol of my commitment? I accept, said automatically, though his confusion was growing. 3 women had now given him gifts. This seemed odd. Wove the ribbons through his hair and around his wrists. The ribbons felt alive, warm and gentle against his skin. Finally, Vila approached. She carried a silver chain with a pendant shaped like 2 moons intertwined. Captain, she said, her warrior's voice strong and clear, I offer you my bond. Will you accept this pendant as a symbol of my commitment? Yes, said, though his mind was racing. Why were they all talking about commitment to him? Vila placed the chain around his neck. The pendant rested over his heart, warm and heavy. The elder raised their hands again. The honored one has accepted the gifts of bonding. Now he must speak his heart to seal the union. Union, stomach twisted. What union? Speak, honored one, the elder prompted. Tell us why you accept this sacred bond. All eyes were on him. The 4 women watched him with expressions of hope and joy. Translator was still not working properly. He could tell because some words weren't translating at all, just showing as symbols. He decided to give a safe, general speech about friendship and unity. That seemed appropriate for a wedding. I am honored to be here, began, his voice carrying across the silent garden. The people have shown me incredible kindness. You have taught me that true friendship crosses all boundaries, species, culture, distance. When I helped your colony, I did it because it was right. Because in space, we must help each other. The crowd made appreciative sounds. Several skin glowed brighter. Today, I witnessed the joining of souls, continued, warming to his speech. I believe that bonds built on respect, trust, and mutual understanding are the strongest bonds in the universe. Whether between 2 people or 2 species, these connections make us all better. I am proud to call them my friends. I accept these gifts as symbols of our friendship between humans and... He finished, feeling pleased with himself. It was a good diplomatic speech. The silence that followed was strange. Then suddenly, the entire garden erupted in celebration. Music exploded in joyous rhythms. Danced, their skin flashing brilliant colors. Fireworks of bioluminescent spores filled the air, creating patterns of light in the sky. And Vila rushed forward and embraced him together. Their skin glowed the gold had ever seen. That was beautiful, said, tears shining in her large eyes. You have a poet's heart, added. I knew you would be perfect, whispered. Strong words from a strong warrior, Vila said with approval. Laughed, caught up in their happiness, though he still didn't fully understand what was happening. The elder approached and placed a hand on his shoulder. The bonding is complete. May your union bring prosperity and joy to all. Before could ask what that meant, his wrist device beeped. It was his translator finally finishing an update. He glanced at it absently. A notification appeared on the small screen. System update complete. VELORN cultural database fully loaded. Another notification appeared below it. CONGRATULATIONS on your VLORN multi-bond marriage registration. Froze, his blood turned to ice. His mouth went dry. What? He whispered. Another message appeared. Marriage certificate transmitted to Galactic Registry. Status: officially bonded to LYSARIN, KIRAVEL, NESSATAL, Velador. His hands started shaking. He looked at the bracelet on his wrist with new horror. He looked at the flowers around his neck, the scarf on his shoulders, the ribbons in his hair, the pendant over his heart. Each one was a marriage vow. Each gift he had accepted was a binding contract. The speech he just gave was his wedding vows. "No," he breathed. "No, no, no." Noticed his expression change. "Are you well? Your face has lost color." He couldn't find words. "I think there's been a mistake." Tilted her head. "A mistake? What do you mean?" "The ceremony," said, his voice rising in panic. I thought I was a guest at someone's wedding, not the bonding partner," Vila finished, her skin flickering with confusion. "But you accepted the invitation. You came. You wore the mark. You accepted our gifts. You spoke your vows." "I didn't know," said desperately. "My translator wasn't working right. I thought I was attending wedding to someone else." The four women stared at him. Their skin colors shifted through confusion, shock, and something that might have been hurt. The celebration around them continued, unaware of the crisis unfolding on the platform. Stood frozen, covered in marriage symbols, legally bonded to four alien women, with no idea how this had happened or how to fix it. The celebration feast was in full swing around, but he couldn't enjoy any of it. Long tables floated in the air, covered with exotic foods that glowed softly in the evening light. Danced between the tables, their skin flashing happy colors. Music filled the garden with joyous sounds. Sat at the head table, which his translator now helpfully informed him was the bonding table reserved for newly married partners. Sat on his right, on his left, with Vila across from him. All four women looked at him with concern. "You need to eat something," said gently, pushing a plate of fruit toward him. "You look very pale." "I'm not hungry," said. His stomach was doing flips. I need to understand what just happened." Skin shifted to worried blue. "We can explain everything. We thought you knew. The invitation was clear about the bonding ceremony." "My translator didn't work properly," said, rubbing his face. "It kept glitching on cultural terms. I thought I was coming to watch someone else get married." "To watch?" Skin flickered with surprise. "But the invitation was addressed to you as the bonding partner. It used your name with the formal title of Chosen One." Pulled out his personal device and brought up the saved invitation. He stared at it. Now that his translator was fully updated, he could see what he had missed. The title above his name wasn't Honored Guest. It was Chosen Bonding Partner. "Oh no," he whispered. "Oh no, no, no." Vila leaned forward. "Please breathe. You're turning an unhealthy color." "I need to contact my ship," said, standing up quickly. His chair scraped loudly. Several nearby looked over. "Excuse me, I need air." He rushed away from the table, ignoring the confused looks from his apparent wives. He found a quiet spot behind a large cluster of glowing trees and activated his communicator. "Menu," he hissed into the device. "Menu, pick up." There was a pause, then his co-pilot's sleepy voice answered. "Captain, it's late. How's the wedding?" "I'm married," said. "That's nice. Wait, what?" "I'm married to four women. I'm married, Menu." Silence, then Menu burst out laughing. "You're joking. You went to a wedding and came back married. How does that even happen?" "It's not funny," snapped. "My translator malfunctioned. I thought I was a guest. I accepted gifts. I gave a speech. Apparently those were marriage vows." Minu tried to stop laughing but couldn't. "I'm sorry, Captain, but this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. You accidentally got married at someone else's wedding." "It wasn't someone else's wedding. It was my wedding, and I need your help, not your laughter." Okay, Minu said, still chuckling. "What do you want me to do?" "I don't know. Research. Find out if this can be undone. Contact the embassy." "The human embassy on?" "Yes." "Captain, it's midnight. They're closed." Wanted to throw his communicator. "Then research marriage laws, please. I need to know if I can fix this." "All right, I'll look into it," Minyu said. "But Captain, those 4 women, are they nice at least?" "Thought about it? Yes, they seem very nice. That's not the point. Just checking. I'll call you back in an hour." The communication ended, leaned against a tree and tried to calm down. His heart was racing. Married. He was married to 4 people he just met. He jumped, had found him. She approached slowly, her skin showing concerned purple tones. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "We didn't mean to distress you. We thought you understood." "How did this happen?" asked, not angry, just confused. "Why me?" Sat down on a floating bench nearby. "In culture, we don't marry like humans do. Our bonding ceremonies involve multiple partners who choose to unite with one person they all admire. It's called a multi-bond." "But why did you choose me? We barely know each other." "We've been observing you for months," admitted. "After you helped our colony, we were curious about humans. We studied you, watched how you treated your crew, how you negotiated fairly with everyone, how you risked your own profit to help strangers." Emerged from the trees, followed by Envila. They had clearly come looking for him together. "We chose you because you're kind," said, sitting beside. "We spent weeks debating if we should invite you, are cautious about bonding with other species. It's never been done before." "You're the first," added, joining them. "The first human to be offered a multi-bond." "And you thought I'd just agree?" asked, "without discussion, without even knowing you?" Vila crossed her arms. "The invitation gave you 3 months to decide. You could have declined. The fact that you came meant you accepted." His device beeped. He looked at it. An elder, not one from the ceremony, was requesting to speak with him. Accepted. The elder's face appeared on his screen. "Captain, I am Elder, head of the Bonding Council. I understand there has been a cultural misunderstanding." "Yes," said with relief. "Yes, there has. My translator wasn't working. I didn't understand what was happening." Elder's expression was sympathetic but serious. "I see. This is unfortunate. However, the bonding is now complete. It has been witnessed, recorded, and registered with the Galactic Union." "It can be undone though, right?" asked desperately. The elder's skin shifted to uncomfortable gray. "Take bonding very seriously. To dissolve a completed ceremony would bring great shame to the partners involved. It would also damage the relationship between our peoples." "But it was a mistake." "From your perspective, yes. From ours, you came to the ceremony, wore the mark, accepted the gifts, and spoke vows. By our laws and customs, you are bound." "Felt sick, so I'm trapped." "Not trapped," Elder said carefully. "But to refuse the bonding now would be seen as a grave insult. It would suggest that and Vila are not worthy. It would hurt them deeply and could create diplomatic problems." Looked at the 4 women. They were watching him with expressions he was starting to recognize, hope mixed with fear. They were scared he would reject them. "What if I want to get to know them first?" asked. "Humans don't usually marry strangers. We have something called dating. We spend time together, learn about each other, then decide if we want to marry." Elder considered this. "An interesting concept. The bonding is complete, but perhaps you could incorporate your human customs into it. Honor the bonding but add your cultural traditions." "Would that work?" asked the 4 women. Skin brightened with hope. "You would stay, you would give us a chance." "I don't want to insult you," said honestly. "And I don't want to damage human relations, but I can't just accept this without understanding it. Would you be willing to date, to let me get to know you properly?" The 4 women looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. Finally, nodded. "We can do this human way," she said, "if it means you'll stay." "What is dating?" asked curiously. Laughed despite himself. "I'll teach you. We'll figure this out together." Elder looked satisfied. "A compromise. Very human of you, Captain. I will inform the council that you are honoring the bonding through your cultural customs. The marriage stands, but you will have time to adjust. The communication ended. Sat down, exhausted. He was still married, but at least he had time to figure out what that meant. So, Vila said, a small smile on her face, when does this dating begin? Looked at his 4 accidental wives and felt the absurdity of the situation hit him. He started to laugh. Once he started, he couldn't stop. The women looked confused at first, then they started laughing too. I went to a wedding, gasped between laughs, and accidentally married 4 women. Minyu is never going to let me live this down. 3 days after the ceremony, sat in a conference room at the Human Embassy on. Across from him sat Admiral Park, his superior officer in the diplomatic corps. The admiral's face was red, and his jaw was clenched tight. "Let me make sure I understand," Admiral Park said slowly. "You went to an alien wedding as a guest, you accepted gifts, you gave a speech, and now you're married to 4 women." "Yes, sir," said miserably. "Because your translator malfunctioned." "Yes, sir." Admiral Park was quiet for a long moment. Then he started laughing. Not the polite diplomatic laugh he used in meetings, but real, deep belly laughs. "Sir," said uncertainly. "I'm sorry, Captain," the Admiral said, wiping his eyes. "I shouldn't laugh, but in 20 years of diplomatic service I've never heard anything like this. You've outdone yourself. Can you help me?" Admiral Park's expression became serious. "I've spoken with the Council and our legal team. The situation is complex. The marriage is legally binding under both and Galactic Union law. But it was a mistake. That doesn't matter legally. You participated in the ceremony willingly. You weren't forced or coerced. From a legal standpoint, you consented." Put his head in his hands. "So I'm stuck." "Not necessarily stuck," the Admiral said thoughtfully. "Actually, this could be useful." "Useful? How is me accidentally marrying 4 aliens useful?" "Relations between humans and have been good but distant. We trade, we're friendly, but there's no deep connection. This marriage, if you honor it, could change that. You'd be the first human family, a living symbol of alliance." "I don't want to be a symbol," protested. "I want my normal life back." "Your normal life ended when you accepted that bracelet," Admiral Park said bluntly. "Now you have a choice. You can fight this, create a diplomatic incident, hurt 4 innocent women and damage human relations. Or you can adapt, make the best of it. That's what humans do, we adapt." Thought about and Vila. Over the past 3 days they had been patient and kind. They gave him space when he needed it. They answered his questions. They were trying to understand his confusion. "I suggested dating," said, "getting to know each other before truly accepting the marriage." Admiral Park raised an eyebrow. "Dating, that's actually brilliant, very human solution. How did they respond?" "They agreed, but they don't really understand what dating is." "Then teach them," the Admiral said. "Show them human courtship. Maybe you'll find you actually like them. And if you don't, at least you gave it a fair chance." Over the next week, designed a plan. He would have individual dates with each wife. One-on-one time to get to know them as people, not just as a group. He explained this to them one evening in the garden where they had married. "On Earth, when 2 people want to know if they're compatible, they spend time alone together," explained. "They talk, share meals, do activities together. It's called dating." "But there are 5 of us," Vila pointed out. "How does that work?" "I'll spend time with each of you individually first. Then we can all spend time together as a group. That way, I get to know each of you." Skin brightened with interest. "I like this idea. It's very personal, intimate in a different way." "Who goes first?" asked. "We could take turns," suggested. 1 day each." Nodded. "That sounds fair." His first date was with. He took her to the embassy gardens, a small piece of earth on. Was fascinated by the earth plants. "These are so different from flora," she said, touching a rose carefully. "They don't glow." Not all beautiful things need to glow, said. They sat on a bench and asked her about her work, was a who studied plants from different worlds. I'm researching which Earth plants could survive on and which plants could grow on Earth, she explained, her skin glowing with excitement. Imagine gardens that combine both our worlds, glowing roses, Earth fruit trees that produce bioluminescent fruit. Found himself genuinely interested. That could help with terraforming projects. Human colonies always struggle to grow Earth crops on new worlds. Exactly, said enthusiastically. I've been wanting to study human agricultural techniques. With your permission, I could visit Earth colony worlds, work with your farmers. They talked for hours, learned that was passionate, intelligent, and had a gentle sense of humor. By the end of their date, he realized she wasn't just one of the women he accidentally married. She was a person with dreams and talents. His date with involved visiting a spacecraft factory, was an engineer, and she wanted to show him ship designs. Human ships are so bulky, she said, not meaning it as an insult. All hard angles and heavy armor ships flow, they're organic. She showed him a ship that looked like it was grown rather than built. The hull curved smoothly, and the engines used some kind of biological mechanical hybrid technology. Could this technology work on human ships? Asked. Skin brightened. I've been dying to try. Tech is efficient but fragile. Human engineering is tough but slow. Together, we could create something amazing. She pulled out a data pad and started sketching. For the next 3 hours and designed a hybrid ship. She would explain technology, and he would suggest how to make it work with human systems. They argued, laughed, and created something neither could have made alone. You have a good engineering mind, said as they finished, for a diplomat. And you have good ideas, replied, for someone who insulted my bulky ship. She laughed and realized he had laughed a lot that day. His date was different. She took him to her art studio, a floating room filled with sculptures and paintings that combined in human art styles. I've been studying human art since I learned you were coming, admitted. Your art is so focused on reality, on capturing what you see. Art is about emotion, about what you feel. She showed him a sculpture that somehow looked like both a human and it was beautiful and strange. I made this after the bonding, she said softly. It's called union. It represents what we could be together, 2 different species creating something new. Was touched, it's beautiful. They spent hours talking about art, culture, and beauty, had a poet's soul. She saw meaning and emotion in everything. She made think about things differently. You see the world in colors I don't even know exist, said as the sun set. And you see it with a clarity that grounds me, replied. We balance each other. His final individual date was with Vila. She took him to a combat training center. I know humans value strength, Vila said. I want to show you that are not weak. She demonstrated combat techniques that used speed, flexibility, and energy manipulation. Then she asked to show her human combat styles. Human fighting is direct, explained, demonstrating. We rely on strength, strategy, and endurance. Interesting, Vila said. Let's spar. They spent 2 hours sparring, teaching each other moves. Vila was fast and graceful, was strong and tactical. They learned from each other. You're a good warrior, Vila said, breathing hard. You adapt quickly. You're better, admitted, faster at least. But you never give up. That's a different kind of strength. They sat and talked about honor, duty, and what it meant to protect others. Learned that Vila had been a colony defender before choosing to bond. She had fought pirates, protected civilians, and earned many honors. Why give that up? Asked. I didn't give it up, Vila said. I chose a different battle, building something instead of just defending, creating a future instead of preserving the past. You inspired that. By the end of 4 dates, realized something surprising. He liked them, all 4 of them. They were intelligent, kind, talented, and interesting. They weren't just beautiful aliens who accidentally married him. They were, and Vila, four unique individuals he was starting to care about. But could he love them? Could he build a real marriage with four people from another species? That was a question he still couldn't answer. 6 weeks after the accidental wedding had settled into a strange new routine, he lived on his ship, the Horizon Runner, which was docked at its main station. And Vila visited regularly, sometimes together, sometimes alone. They had dinner together every evening. They talked, laughed, and slowly became a real family. Minyu had accepted the situation with good humor. "At least you're never lonely, Captain," he would joke. The human embassy had assigned a new role. He was now the official human cultural ambassador. It meant he helped other humans understand culture and vice versa. It was strange work, but he enjoyed it. One evening, received an urgent message. A joint human research station in the border territories was under attack by pirates. The station housed important medical research and 37 scientists, both human and. "We need to help them," said to his wives. They had gathered in his ship's common room for dinner. "The nearest military ship is 6 hours away," said, checking her data pad. "The station won't last that long." "We could reach them in 90 minutes, said thoughtfully, "but this ship isn't armed." "We're not fighters," added nervously. "I am," Vila said firmly, "and so is we have skills." Looked at his four wives. They looked back at him, waiting for his decision. A month ago they were strangers. Now they were his team. "We're going," said, "but we need a plan." They spent the next 20 minutes planning. Would pilot the ship and handle the systems. Would coordinate communications and help any wounded. Would use her knowledge of station layouts to guide them. Vila and would handle any combat situations. As they approached the research station, they could see 3 pirate ships surrounding it. The pirates were small-time raiders in old, poorly maintained vessels. They were cutting through the station's hull. "They're after the research data," said. "Medical breakthroughs are worth millions on the black market." "We need to distract them," said. "Draw them away from the station." Smiled and her skin flashed with excited blue light. "I can do that. Everyone hold on." She pushed the Horizon Runner into a series of aggressive maneuvers that made the pirate ship's sensors think they were a military vessel. The pirates immediately turned their attention to them. "3 ships targeting us," Minyu reported from his position. "They're hailing us." "Ignore them," said. "Get us close to the largest ship. Vila and I will board it." "Board it," looked scared. "That's dangerous." "So is doing nothing," Vila said, already checking her weapons. Brought the Horizon Runner alongside the pirate flagship, and Vila used the airlock to cross over. Inside the pirate ship, they moved quickly and silently. The pirates were a mixed group, criminals from various species who worked together for profit, and Vila used a combination of human tactics and combat techniques to disable them without killing. Would use his strength to block and control, while Vila used her speed to disarm. "You're good at this," Vila said as they fought back to back. "So are you," replied, blocking a punch. "We make a good team." They reached the pirate ship's bridge and took control. Broadcast a message to the other 2 pirate ships. "This is Captain of the Diplomatic Corps. Your leader's ship is under our control. Stand down immediately or face military consequences. A battle cruiser is en route." It was a bluff. No battle cruiser was coming for hours, but the pirates didn't know that. The remaining pirates, seeing their flagship captured and hearing about military reinforcements, fled. Within minutes, the research station was safe. Back on the Horizon Runner, and his wives helped evacuate the wounded scientists and secure the station until proper help arrived. They worked together smoothly, each person's skills complementing the others. When it was over, they returned to the ship exhausted but proud. "We saved them," said softly, "all of them." "We saved them together," corrected, "as a family." Looked at his 4 wives. Something clicked in his heart at that moment. They had faced danger together. They had protected others together. They had worked as one unit, trusting each other completely. "I need to tell you something," said. They all looked at him nervously. "When I accidentally married you, I was terrified. I didn't know you. I didn't understand. I felt trapped." He paused. "But these past weeks, getting to know you, working with you, living with you, I've realized something." "What?" asked softly. "I don't want to undo this marriage. I don't want to go back to my life before. I want this. I want all of you. Not because of duty or diplomacy or avoiding insult, but because you're amazing and I'm falling in love with you." The four women's skin erupted in brilliant gold light, the color of pure joy. "You mean it," whispered. "I mean it," said firmly. "But I want to do this right, the human way. Will you marry me, all of you, for real this time?" They laughed and cried and said yes. The next week they held a second ceremony. This one blended human and traditions, gave each wife a ring, a human symbol of marriage. The rings were designed by, engineered by to be unbreakable and blessed by with earth flowers. Vila stood as his honor guard. Instead of accidentally accepting gifts, gave each wife a personal gift that showed he truly knew them. For he gave her seeds from Earth's rarest plants and access to human agricultural colonies for her research. For he gave her blueprints for a new hybrid ship, design they could build together. For he commissioned a studio on his ship where she could create art combining human and styles. For Vila, he gave her a position as security chief on all his diplomatic missions. This time when spoke his vows, he knew exactly what he was saying. He promised love, partnership, respect, and adventure. He promised to honor both his human heritage and his new family. 6 months later, the Horizon Runner had been redesigned. It was now a mobile home for unusual family. The cargo holds had been converted into living spaces, a laboratory for, an engineering workshop for, an art studio for, and a training room for Vila. Minu still served as co-pilot, though he complained good-naturedly about being surrounded by newlyweds. The ship had a new crew member too, a young human engineer named who was fascinated by technology and had asked to study under. Their family became famous across known space. The first human union. Other species watched with interest as humans and began to interact more closely. More mixed marriages followed. Cultural exchanges expanded. The two species grew closer. One evening, as sat in the ship's observation deck with his four wives, a new message arrived. It was from another alien species, inviting him to attend a ceremony on there. Read the invitation carefully, very carefully. He made sure his translator was working perfectly. He researched customs extensively. "It's an honor ceremony," he announced finally. "They want to give me a medal for improving interspecies relations. Nothing else, just a medal." His wives laughed. "Are you sure?" Vila teased. "Maybe it's actually a secret marriage ritual." "Don't even joke about that," said, but he was smiling. Put her hand on his. "Would it be so bad, accidentally marrying more aliens?" "Yes," said firmly. "4 wives is already more than most humans can handle. I'm very happy with exactly the family I have." "Good answer," said approvingly. They sat together, watching the stars stream past as the ship traveled through space, thought about the strange path that had led him here. He had gone to a wedding as a guest and ended up married to 4 alien women. It should have been a disaster. Instead, it was the best thing that ever happened to him. He learned that sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never planned. Sometimes you have to adapt, take chances, and trust that things will work out. And sometimes, just sometimes, getting accidentally married to 4 aliens is exactly what you need. As they flew toward their next adventure, smiled. His life was strange, complicated, and nothing like he expected, but he wouldn't change it for anything. After all, that's what humans do best. They adapt. They survive. They find love in the most unexpected places, even at alien weddings where they're the groom and don't even know it.